An earthquake happens when there's a sudden shake or shift in the Earth's crust. This releases a bunch of energy as seismic waves that ripple through the ground, causing a series of tremors. Big earthquakes usually come without warning, but sometimes smaller shakes called foreshocks can happen beforehand and hint that something bigger might be coming. After a major quake, it's common to feel smaller ones after, known as aftershock. The spot deep underground where the energy is first released is called the focus. The point right above it on the Earth's surface is the epicenter. That's usually where the shaking is felt the strongest and where the most damage happens. So what actually causes earthquakes? The Earth's crust is made up of giant plates that are always moving. The edges of these plates aren't smooth, so they can get stuck. As they keep pushing and pulling, stress builds up until one of them finally slips. That sudden movement releases all the stored energy, which is spread out in waves, causing the ground to shake. Earthquakes can happen anywhere on the surface, all the way down to 700 kilometers deep. Shallow focus earthquakes occur close to the surface and are more common than deep focus earthquakes, which have a depth of 300 to 500 kilometers. Unfortunately, shallow focus earthquakes cause much more damage than deep focus because their energy is released so close to the surface. Most earthquakes occur at plate boundaries. The most notable of these is the Pacific Plate, subducting under the Eurasian and the Philippines Plate. In 2011, Japan saw one of the most catastrophic earthquakes recorded, measuring 9 on the Richter scale. Its epicenter was just 60 kilometers from the coast and had a shallow focus depth of 25 kilometers. This short distance from land, combined with the shallow focus, allowed the earthquake to release its massive amount of energy that it built up in a huge bang. The force was enough to thrust the seabed up 8 meters over a distance of 180 kilometers. The earthquake was so powerful that around 5,000 aftershock followed it over a 2-month period. The earthquake also generated a large tsunami which varied in height from 4 to 10 meters. The destructive power of the tsunami was increased because parts of the Japanese coastline dropped half a meter, allowing the water to flow over many coastal defenses. Massive earthquakes also occur when 2 continental plates collide. Nepal is located on the Himalayan mountain range where the Indian and Eurasian plates collide. Although the earthquake wasn't as powerful as the Japanese earthquake, measuring 7.8 on the Richter scale, Nepal's economy is 0.5% of that of Japan's. The earthquake's epicenter was extremely close to the Nepalese capital, being 75 kilometers away from Kathmandu with a depth of 18 kilometers. After the initial earthquake, an aftershock caused just as much damage as the main event, and again, 2 weeks later, the earthquake was followed by a second, measuring 7.3. Nepal just can't catch a break. More recently, in March 2025, the Myanmar earthquake measured 7.7 and occurred on a transform fault boundary between the minor Burma and Sunda plates. This earthquake was followed by 500 aftershock almost a month later. The way these earthquakes travel is through seismic waves. These are grouped into surface waves and body waves. Surface waves are the slowest type of waves, and if you read the name, you'll see they travel close to the surface, causing it to shake side to side as well as up and down. Surface waves are very destructive, as they usually have the strongest vibrations. Body waves pass through the interior of the Earth. They are then classified as either primary or secondary waves. Primary waves are the faster type of waves and travel through the mantle. As they travel, they compress and expand the material, causing it to vibrate back and forth. On the other hand, secondary waves follow more slowly. Because of their depth, body waves generally don't cause much damage when compared to surface waves. As we've seen with the recent Myanmar earthquake, populated areas and earthquakes aren't a good mix and can have catastrophic results. Buildings collapse, injuring and killing many people. Much of the damage to life could be avoided by knowing where and when an earthquake will hit. It's easy to say that an earthquake will hit Japan in the next century, but it's not as easy to predict if an earthquake will hit Tokyo tomorrow. Making long-term forecasts by producing maps showing epicenters of past earthquakes allows us to assume that a region is more likely to experience earthquakes. Knowing where earthquakes usually happen also reveals seismic gap regions on the map. This might be a region along a fault where stress is building up because no earthquake has occurred there recently. Seismic gaps are often flanked by other areas where earthquakes have experienced in the past. Scientists believe that these gaps are the most likely location for large earthquakes in the near future. Scientists have also been trying to make accurate short-term forecasts, but this hasn't been achieved yet. The best system that has been developed might give people just 10-second warning to save themselves from death. This is done by monitoring foreshock, small seismic waves that come before the main event. While an earthquake may travel at the speed of sound, the warning system travels faster. The advanced warning system allows people to evacuate buildings, stop transport, and shut down power supply so they won't be damaged or destroyed when the earthquake eventually hits. Chinese scientists have monitored animal behavior in an attempt to predict earthquakes in the short term. Some animals might behave differently because they can feel the foreshock and smaller primary waves when humans just can't. The crazy thing is, this has actually worked, predicting 2 major earthquakes. However, the system is easier in rural areas where people are more connected with animals, still leaving big cities where the most damage take place at risk. Many developed countries that are at risk from the effects of earthquakes, like Japan or the US, have applied a high standard of earthquake proofing to buildings, roads, and bridges, limiting the destruction caused by them. Countries with smaller economies, such as Nepal, don't have the money to invest in new, high-tech defenses. Instead, they make buildings that won't collapse. They use materials which are flexible, easily available, and lighter, so if they do fall on you, you'll still walk away with your life. People living in earthquake zones can prepare for the arrival and impact of a quake. Families and schools hold drills to practice what to do during a quake. Emergency supplies can be stored at homes, such as food and water, in case water supply is shut off or the power goes out. Just before you go, please consider subscribing, as I'm in a subscriber race against my friend Rocket Reviews. Subscribing is completely free, and if you want to check out Rocket's channel, I'll put a link to him in the description. And I'll see you in the next video.